Okay, so I guess we can keep going with the call. Alex just gave some updates, but unfortunately they weren't recorded. So I think we can just go into team questions. If any of the projects have questions, we can answer.
I have one question, if I may start. And it's a very simple question. I don't know why I'm not be able to do this, but when I try to lazy mint a NFT, I get an ID. But when I try to verify the ID, the lazy minted NFT with the ID that I received from that call, I have a 500 error from that call, so I don't know what's going on. And I post that on the channel there on Discord, and everybody said that my ID looked bad, looked malformed. So I don't know. I'm getting from the response, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so in order to create you need to actually like query the ID from the collection controller, right? You're calling the generate token ID.
Yeah. So yes, I'm following the whole process, right? I'm calling the collection controller. I'm creating the lazy mints, and I'm sending the lazy mints as the Ethereum NFT /NFT /mints, and I'm getting the response. I'm not getting an error there, and when I get the response, I get the contract, I get the token ID, I get the URI, I get the creators, royalties, and signatures, all good. But when I copy the token ID and use to the get lazy item by ID, I don't get a response, I get a 500.
Have you tried to just get the item by ID, not lazy item, but item?
No. What is, let me take a note of this. What is the endpoint that I should try?
Can I share the screen, Eric?
Hang on. Let me. I should be able to share my screen as well, or just, you're going to. Okay, good. Because
so you're calling the get lazy item by ID, right?
Exactly.
And which item ID are you using?
Okay, let me try to send this to you. It's a big number. 1 second. Okay, let me try this. Send you on the chat.
Okay, so I guess for the probably the problem is that this item ID doesn't contain the actual collection that you're using.
I see. So I should append
Which collection did you when you generated token ID, you submitted the collection there. Is that the same collection that you used?
Yeah, it is. It is the same collection. Should I append the collection as well with the token ID when I do the call?
Suppose, yeah. Let's try. Okay, so get item by ID. Let's try to call this. Was that on Brinky by?
Yes.
So we're using Brinky by, right? And item ID. Okay.
Let me take a look at the collection. I think I have it open still.
So use this collection. And then the token ID. Item not found.
That's a different response.
Yeah, please check the collection.
All right. Okay, I will check that. So you can move on. I will check it. If I have any trouble, I'll talk again. Okay.
So yeah, and basically, so and this is all another route. It's get item by ID, and get item by ID also includes lazy minted items as well. But here in the get lazy minted item by ID, the ID actually needs to be like appended with the collection. Let's try this one.
Okay.
Okay, let's try this one. Bring by item ID / lazy. Yeah, it's actually the same error.
Yeah. I have a 404 as well, but at least it's already a different error. So
yeah,
I'm going
because
to
before
try
that,
to min again.
yeah, before that it was like this, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so it didn't have the collection because every item you need, like item ID is not enough to understand the item. You need to have a collection as well. So I don't know like which collection are you using, and it should work with the collection ID as well.
Okay, thanks. I will try.
Yeah, we'll try. If you can't do it, please provide the code snippet for us. The code snippet, the exact code that you use to create. If you're executing these calls, you can do a CURL, right?
Mm-hmm.
CURL calls. If you can provide us like with like 3 calls, one of them would be like to mint or exact like JS code snippet. So basically, so we can like reproduce all the calls that you're making to our API and try. So that might be an error on our side, but we need exact code to reproduce that. And I know this collection might help you.
Okay.
Yep.
I will do that.
Let's try it. Which collection did you use actually?
It's the one that it's on the code from the repository. I'm going to send the yeah, but even
it should be
with
another
that,
one then.
Oh, okay. I should create my own collection, right?
No, you should use the collection from the contract addresses. So for the Winky buy, it's here is 721. Did you use 721 or 1155?
721.
So
it's
this should be this one.
6EDE. Yeah. 6EDE. Yeah, that's it. That's the
yeah. Here's your item.
Here's the item. Okay. All right. Good.
So it's the collection, column, and your ID.
All right. Okay. Thanks. 60E, and that's a column, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
you,
man. I'm glad I was helpful.
Great. I just want to get a show of hands. Who else has questions? I just want to do like a check of who. So Brody, I know Roberto had mentioned. Okay. So Brody, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. I know I missed like the first 15, 20 minutes. So I don't know if some of these were already answered. But I asked about the API changing and things along those lines. Will those changes be announced in the future?
Oh yeah, sorry about that, guys. So for the future, actually, what we are intended to do is, so the protocol is under heavy development now, and we are like lacking on speed to move the Rarible to the protocol, and we made that change to actually just improve the speed of moving. So as soon as Rarible is on protocol would change the development style. We would make only backward compatible changes, and if we break something backward compatible, we would increase the version size. So yeah, again, sorry about that. We're yet early in the life, and we wanted to make it. We wanted to, basically to improve things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I was able to figure out kind of what happened and was able to fix it. But so right now we have lazy minting working and we have creating sell orders. Now we're trying to work on the buyer side. Are there any more complete examples in the documentation. It seems like there's like bits and pieces to kind of describe the whole buyer journey of like all the calls I need to make.
Oh, I just was explaining that on the Google Meet, and since we have this this question, let me try to explain that now again. So what we actually did, we created the new controller. It's living here under order controller, and it's called preparatives for order. Probably the name should be somewhat more explaining, but actually, so imagine you created the lazy minted item and you've created the sell order for that. And to create a sell order for that, you probably used one of the controllers. We have the encode controller that you could use, right? This is the very nice controller. You can submit type, maker, taker, take, so like all the salt, data, and signature, and that returns you the order to be like signed. It encodes this data field, right? And you take that to the front end and you sign it.
Yep.
I don't know if you use that or not.
Yep. Yeah. That is exactly what we did. Yeah.
Yeah, you signed the order, you submitted the order to the creator update order controller, and now you can query your order with like get order by hash or by item by maker, right?
Yep.
And you have this hash in the order.
Okay.
So what you can actually do is you can go to preparatives for order. And what happens on the front end? You need to create the complementary order for your sell order. So when you created the sell order, you specified, I'm a maker, I'm making an NFT for sale. For example, this is the contract ID, this is the item ID. I'm making 10 items for sale if that's RC1155. And I want to take in exchange 10 ETH, for example. So 10 items for 10 ETH. What you actually need to do on the front end, you need to create a complementary order. So on the buyer side, what I do, I want to make some ETH, 10 ETH, for example, and I want to take 10 items. It's reversing maker and taker, because that's how our order works. What I give and what I should receive in exchange. And then you can play with numbers. So for example, there was 10 items for sale and for 10 ETH, but you actually want to buy only 2 of them for 2 ETH. So when you're making make order, when you're making buy order, you're saying make asset is the same, but the make value is 2 out of 10. Yeah, so I'm explaining the logic here. And then you have this order, you sign it with the buyer, and you go to the contract and you execute the order inside the contract. You say match orders. Let me find it here. So we have doc, rarible.com, contract addresses. There is exchange contract. This is the one. There is the rightest proxy. It's just the way to understand it. And there is the call match orders, right? So you can specify the parameters here. Order left, one of the orders, signature left, the signature for one of the orders, order right, another order, signature for another order, and the actual amount of money that you're paying to buy, like 2 ETH. So you're saying like payable amount 2, it would be in way, so zeros. I guess you can omit the signature of the buyer here. So you can only have the order without the signature, because it's the same wallet that is making the call. Hey, this is all a little bit difficult. That's why we created an order helper for you.
Okay.
So this prepare transaction for order, what it does, it can generate you transaction that you need to submit to the contract in order to match the order. So the signature for the call is like this. We have somebody in the waiting room. Okay. So the signature for the call is this. So here is this Ethereum orders, and there is a hash of the sell order. It's the hash of the sell order, and you call prepare transaction. We have several parameters. This is the extra parameters. So imagine the sell order was for 10 items.
Yep.
So maker is the person who is buying. Amount is like the item, the sell order was for 10 items, but you want to buy only 2. So you put 2 here. Then payouts, it's like who should receive money if that's a sell order. Basically, where should the asset go? Is it the same as maker or not? If you're purchasing and you want to receive to the same wallet, you're saying payouts to my wallet, to the maker wallet. And origin fees is the fees that you want to attach. I'm actually not sure why is it required. Probably that can be an empty array.
And wait, say what are origin fees again?
So the origin fees is the front end fees. You're submitting on order and you can add your own fees to it. When the order will be matched, they would calculate the fees and send to this address.
Okay. So we could put a processing fee or something for the origin fee. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the response would be this structure of transfer proxy address. That's the address for approvals. So you're buying an NFT for 10 DAI. You're buying an NFT for 10 DAI. Our contract can't just take your 10 DAI. What it actually needs to do, it needs to have an approval for 10 DAI to take. So you need to make an approval for this transfer proxy address. And here is the asset that you are paying. So if you buy with ETH, then like it would calculate the amount of ETH that you need to submit. And that's a pre-built transaction that specifies to which contract you need to send it and which data you need to send as the transaction data. And you're also attaching ETH as the payable amount there. Okay, so that works for all the orders. If that's a sell, if you had the bid, that was a buy order basically, and you built a prepare TX order for the bid, that would be the sell order, the opposite of bid. It would give you another transfer proxy address for the NFT. You need to make an approval for the NFT to that address. But you probably already did an NFT approval when you, oh, you don't have,
We're pretty much just trying to make like a buy now button. So
yeah.
That's kind of like the only thing we're gonna.
Yeah, okay. Is that better?
Yeah,
somehow
that helps explain it quite a bit. So
while I'm
sure
explaining things, I started to feel that it's also complicated.
yeah. I mean, it is a little complicated. I'm sure I'm probably gonna have to watch this video back to to fully grasp what's all happening. I mean, if there were like how Eugene kind of has that repo for his like sign orders thing, that helped out exponentially. Just like trying to get the whole thing in a lazy minted and then signed and all that. So if there was something similar where there was like a full working example that we could kind of see and work off of, that'd be great.
Yeah. We are in the process of hiring someone to help with all these examples. We don't have the capacity of the team right now to make it. Yeah. Also, we have the D-org team here, which is making the SDK for all of this.
Oh, nice.
So SDK might help.
One minor quick question, follow up with that. Are the payouts and origin fees, those are in basis points?
Yes, both of them are in basis points.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Is there an update of when the items will actually start to appear on Ringfee and stuff, like the lazy minted items? You can kind of see them there, but they're kind of broken right now. Like all the metadata is not coming through.
Yeah. So the team is working on this right now. With, I guess the first network that would work would actually be Ropsten.
Oh, okay.
And for the Ropsten, the timeline, the optimistic timeline is the beginning of the next week.
Okay, cool.
You mean optimistic? You mean you're going to put this on layer 2? You're going to go to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my question is that we are on Gem. We are considering to go to another network, right? And Moonbeam, for that matter. And
Moonbeam are great.
Yeah. So I don't know if that makes sense for right now, or what are your thoughts about that? You know, if we should redeploy everything. My question is if we should redeploy everything or just wait for you to do that. Or
okay,
variable?
So it would be basically the next feature after we are going to the protocol to deploy that protocol on other networks. And the first order of networks are like EVM compatible networks, and it would be like something like Polygon first.
Oh, right.
Yep, and then but we're also in close contact to Moonbeam. The Moonbeam are great guys, so we would be on Moonbeam as well. And for the protocol, you can deploy constructs, but the protocol would be less efficient without the indexing and all the APIs that give you the metadata and so forth. So I don't know how useful that would be to just have the contract on the network.
I see your point. Yeah, makes sense. All right. I'm going to have a meeting with the team, and I'm going to pass that information to them and see what kind of decisions we're going to make. Okay. We are still in the process of deciding this.
Okay, great. I know D-org guys, you guys had some questions. I don't know if
actually we don't have like questions. We just wanted to show you what we have done. So if you mind, I can share my screen and go through what we already built, or I can just talk about it. What do you?
Yeah, you can share your screen. I updated the settings.
All right, great. Okay, so basically, we started going through every flow that's listed in the Rarible documentation, and then gather as much information as we could about its flow, and then think a little bit more on how we can abstract and generalize many of the aspects, and like think how can that can use the SDK to make their lives easier. So for example, if you need to, in the flow, you need to call, I don't know, the API, a contract, and something else that you could just call the flow, and the SDK will call these three parts. So this is what we currently have. It's just a bunch of interfaces. We use ethers to, we integrated these. We build the SDK with ethers in mind. So this is what we currently have. We have you can provide a signer to the SDK, and then you'll be able to configure a bunch of stuff, maybe the API, the contract version, all the different contracts, addresses, the subgraph, PNAT credential if you're gonna upload stuff to IPFS. And then we start going through all the methods that are listed. For example, if you want to mint something, if there is something already mint in IPFF that you want to upload to Rarible, then you're going to be able to do so by just uploading all the information they need. If you are just going to, if you're going to mine your NFT to Rarible and you don't have any IPFS, then this is where the PNAT credentials are going to be useful for. You'll be able to upload it and mint it to Rarible using this another function, which is just an overcall if you see both have the same name. So this is one of the general structure we were trying to achieve. Also the lazy mint, which this is pretty straightforward, which is just how we wanted to have the SDK. It's just as much straightforward as possible. Get lazy mint, get token ID, get item, get items. And for example, I worked with this with Roberto. Roberto was the one who built this part. The API currently supports like get item by creator, get item by owner, get item by collection, and so on. So we built like a couple of interfaces, and depending on the data that you're gonna pass to this method, the SDK will determine which endpoint the dev is trying to call very easily from just one simple method. We have the asset order, get order, create order. Those are pretty straightforward. I think we it's all we were also trying to do a strongly typed SDK, so we can leverage some of the TypeScript's advantages. So basically what I wanted to do by showing you this is, if you see something that could be improved or something that's a little bit off, feel free just to share it. We currently have like, I would call it like a beta one. This is something that we'll have a meeting later on, later today, to iterate through all the SDK and see if there's something that we don't all agree. So for example, if we have a name for a specific method or an interface that's a little bit off, we can just rename it and build the best SDK possible. So this is pretty much what we have. We have a bunch of interfaces, which is good. So I don't know if you have something to share, some feedback. What do you guys think?
Thanks, Carlos. Any thoughts or feedback from the team or the community?
I guess the feedback from the community is what I'm interested here in, because the community would be the ones who are using that.
Right.
Like probably the first question would be, is the community using TypeScript or JavaScript? I don't know if we had discussed that.
So we're mainly using
Okay. That
JavaScript on the front end, but TypeScript, I like the idea of the type, even if you're using, JavaScript, the TypeScript typings help you.
yeah, that's actually we also thought about that. It's like, for example, we tried to make the following the JS doc standard. So if you're only using JavaScript, you also get recommendation from your IDE, which is going to read this JS doc.
Nice. Do you have I see get orders. Do you have have you developed your interfaces for matching orders or creating a bid against a sell order yet?
Yes. Well, actually, I think we're missing that part. That specific part, actually.
Gotcha.
I think that's the only thing we haven't done yet.
Cool. Yeah, that'll be super helpful, because just the general way of taking an order and automatically generating either an exact match or a bid, which is slightly less. That would be super helpful.
Right. I remember we had that in mind. We do have that in mind. It's just I don't remember who of us is gonna build that. That's something that we'll definitely work on.
We were asking last time we had a call, I think on Wednesday, like exactly about matching order, the logic to match those two. And it was like more of a matter of design, like whether we wanted to, be that part of the SDK or not. But that idea of, like automatically submitting a bid under, like, I don't know, 10% less than the price, right? Like that could be something, or actually, but I don't know, that would be like setting up a new bid, right? So like,
yeah, it's creating a new order. Yeah.
Right, but when you like maybe you query an order and then you can actually match it by, do we have that section, sorry, Carlos, where you have the bids and like the logic related to the exchange itself? So minting, querying, and then, okay, orders, you have accept orders.
Yep. Here, yeah.
You have create.
Oh, cool. Create order and stuff. It would also be, I don't know if you have a validate order method, but right now, one of the main ways that I validate an order is I just submit it to Rarible's indexer, and then if they accept it, it means it's valid. But it'd be cool if there was also just like a validate order thing, which functions similar to how they validate on their endpoints.
I think, yeah, this is Ben from Geo, just interjecting. I think what we would probably do is try to do that behind the scenes of like the methods, like when you're submitting an order. So, I mean, if you want like a separate function to do that, like we can certainly do that. But I feel like these methods should validate orders before they get submitted, or like maybe that's a configuration, or maybe that's like some optional parameter. I don't know, but like that's my take on it. Like, yeah.
We could create a public method doing just that in case that somebody wants to store a validated order without, I don't know, sending to Rarible for some reason, and then call that function within I don't know, create order or update order. Can work too.
There's another thing that I actually have a question of how Rarible does it on their backend. But when you get orders, does it automatically filter for orders that are still valid, or is it possible that the Rarible indexer returns orders that are no longer fillable, like they were filled by somebody else?
Not sure about the actual results, but we definitely track which orders are fillable and not, and which orders are valid and not. But we might return the invalid as well, just because well, you need to understand that there was a bid for that money on the item.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only like about exchange, but about the history, about the items being sold several times. So need to actually check on that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, that just might be another use case for validating the orders on the front end, is filtering for which ones we would want to render, which are actually like, I mean, that might not be the job of this SDK, but that's something that I would end up imagine doing, is like filtering for fillable orders or filtering for orders of the best terms and stuff.
Well, can you show the signature of create order?
Sure. So it's you can send this interface.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it side by side.
And the models are going to probably change, because we're going to probably use type chain for like the contracts, and yeah, so the models are somewhat provisional, right? And we'll probably have a generated client from the API and stuff like that. So,
I wanted to add one thing. This is Jason from Dorg. The order type interface, there are slight differences whether you're talking about getting an order response from the API versus sending an order to the API versus searching for an order. And so we had to kind of consolidate with some of those optional fields at the bottom there. That was our best attempt at simplifying the order interface.
Yeah. What Ben said, it's a very good point, that we'll try to use that type chain for the contracts and leverage that into the SDK once implemented. So these interfaces could change a bit.
So one general comment that I don't know keeps coming back to me on this, that we're really trying to create an SDK that will help people, and what we really don't want to do is to just make it a wrapper around APIs. So right. I guess I've answered a lot of questions during these sessions, and like most of the questions were about, okay, I can make an API call, but which fields from that API call should they take to another API call? So more like try to maybe create examples of what would be the signature use when you go through the flow. Like I've created an item, then I need to go and create an order for that item.
So
do I call SDK.create? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add this. I'll talk about this one because I worked on the create order function. There's no reason for the end developer to have to generate a signature. That should all be handled on the back end and passed with the order. And so one of the benefits of the SDK is it would do multi-step process of generating the signature, combining it with the order, and then passing it to the API. So I'm with you. I don't think a developer should have to figure out how to sign an order.
Totally.
Yeah, and more than that, I don't even think that creator needs to create this order structure. Like if I'm trying to sell an item, what I really want to do is I want to call a create sell order function and pass the item contract, item ID, and the number of money that I want to get, and maybe some optional parameters when like start and start update, or like all the rest. So it's just
a good point.
Yeah, something we need to try to chain these calls now to each other to understand, like I want to mint an item. When I'm minting an item, I want to say, this is the image, this is the name, this is the description. Here are some optional fields. Okay, here, or we can go a level deeper. This is the token URI, and do I want to go for the generate token ID in a separate call? I guess not. I want this to be done for me. So what are the levels of abstraction that we give to the user? So what I see here is the first level of abstraction. Okay, let's abstract away APIs. Then well, we can abstract away signatures in the same time. Then we want to abstract away some things like mint. So then what is mint is generating token ID and then going to the exchange. And then the item gets returned. The item is another structure. And when I'm creating an order, I want to pass that item that gets returned to an order. So I want to sell the first parameter an item. Then what I want to get? I want to get ETH10. Or so something like this. I'm not in a developer a long time ago, but it feels like we want to create this type of things.
Yeah, totally.
So, and then I want to build a matching order. So I have an order, I call, okay, create a matching order, and I pass an order there. And then like sign order. So there is a sign structure, unsigned structure. So yeah, I guess it's just the right way to tackle that would be to try to emulate the end user flow with the signature with the signatures of functions that you've created, from the minting to the end, and ideally there should be like very little calls in between them. So in order to do all of that, I want to make 3 simple calls: create item, and pass all the necessary info, create order for the item, so item, money, and then like match orders, and then like, okay, now execute.
Okay, yeah, we could create a flow. We can add a documentation maybe in the README, like having a very simple flow, creating from minting the order to creating minting the NFT, creating an order, and show like a very easy flow that the developer is going to have to follow in order to accomplish and type of transactions. That's something that we'll definitely work on.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you guys. We will share through the NFT Club like updates when we have them, just so you can take a look. If it's really easy, if you just look through the index .ts file, because it includes like all the different interfaces. So yeah, thank you guys again.
Yeah, thank you.
And just like as a takeaway, like trying to make it as simple, as less steps as possible, having it abstracted, and try to expose the least endpoints needed in order to have them go through the flow. Just like we did, for example, with the get items by, like it allows you to like put 5 different endpoints into just one interface. You do owner, you do collection, you do something like that maybe.
Great. Thanks a lot, guys. I guess, if you guys need any more feedback, we can either schedule a call or in the Wednesday call, you guys can ask questions again, but probably not the Wednesday call. If you need another call, we can probably schedule something. Yeah, so we're just out of time. Thanks everyone for making yourselves available, asking questions and helping us push through this. And thanks for your patience as we're working through all this.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Bye.
Hey, you guys. Great weekend. Bye-bye.
Ciao.